Good morning. The purpose of this get-together is to give tribute not only to people who have some difficulties with losses and are still coping with that at 9/11, but there's students that I'm looking at right now that have used these particular people's services. We've had students removed from car vehicles within the last 2 weeks, so let's make good decisions that had to be extracted. That's part of your rescue squad. Our firefighters here not only deal with fires in general, but also assisting in rescuing. Our DNR representatives make a safe inspection of the burning vans that have been on. So every one of these people are here, are chosen to serve, chosen to protect. And as the gentleman alluded to, sometimes, unfortunately sometimes, they're taken away from us earlier than we want. These are people that serve us in a different capacity. For example, our food service, our staff, our school board, our administrators, and your parents. They serve in a different realm. I'd like to start out by having people stand. These people.
What we want to do today is pay tribute to all the emergency services, not only here in our local community in Wisconsin, but the entire nation. Because what the emergency services do are special. All the activities, as he mentioned, a lot of different ways. Myself and 3 other firefighters had the fortunate opportunity to travel to New York to give our support to the firefighters of New York on 2 separate occasions, back in April of 2002 and October of 2002 for the memorial service. What these guys have experienced emotionally, physically, is unimaginable to myself. But what we have shared, what I have shared personally, is and our feelings of happiness, sadness, grief. I've never experienced such an emotional roller coaster as I have on those 2 separate occasions. to hear these fire department personnel talk about the stories that they encountered at Ground Zero. We have in our honor today a firefighter from Squad 288. We stayed with these guys on our visit to New York. We visited Ground Zero. What they've experienced, I cannot imagine. They lost 19 out of 45 of their own people between Squad 288 and Hazmat 1. What we have for you today is we have a compilation of pictures taken from Chief Treforos from the Franklin Park, Illinois Fire Department. I'd like to show you this to you. Kind of shows you what went on in the initial attack, the aftermath, the rescue attempts. All our fire services, emergency personnel, police services, DNR, we're all there to save people, property, and resources. So with that, I'd like to start the presentation, and afterwards, we'll hear from our honored guest, Tim Murphy from New York Fire Department, who recently got promoted to an engine company, Engine 235. So with that, let's turn it over and we'll listen to the program. Thank you. Right now, it's with great honor and pleasure and pride, I'd like to introduce you to Lieutenant from the New York Fire Department, Tim Murphy.
What do you say, right? Very powerful images. A lot of good people, to make about that. Some of the things I was telling Fred yesterday, that was actually the fire department's successful operation. We evacuated 20,000 people out of the Twin Towers. I'm trying to cut my voice here with the video, sorry. So everything we do in the fire service, and talking to Fred and the other guys about this yesterday, was we're always playing a risk-first game. Okay, so for us, they actually consider this the most successful rescue ever done. Some of the things I can tell you about 9/11 itself was it was a complete mess. As you saw, there was dust everywhere. We were trying to operate, just trying to find the other guys that were down there. It took us hours upon hours just trying to find the guys that we knew and made it, so that we could all just kind of stay together. Trying to find our fire truck. It took us 3 days to find our fire truck. And when we did find it, it was hooked up to a hydrant. It was pumping water to the scene. And somebody was coming by and just fueling it up for us. Sorry, that video affected me a little bit more than I thought. Doing the best I can, really. Some of the good things out of 9/11 that came was how the country kind of pulled together. I met Fred. Fred called me up on the phone, and I got his number through another mutual friend. He calls me up on the phone and says, "Yeah, we want to come out and visit." And from this community alone, you guys raised over $10,000 for our firehouse. That was very important. A lot of these families they stopped paying them. And it's hoped that they were finding their loved ones, or these people weren't getting any money. So having that donation, which when you look at the grand scheme of things, you may say, well, it's not a lot. It's a lot. You try to tell someone that, yeah, we're going to cut your check off, that we haven't found your husband yet, but we're going to cut your check off. It affects them. So every little bit helped, and a lot of lifelong friendships were made out of this. Like I said, Fred calls me up a couple of months ago, says, "Would you come down and talk to high school?" And I said, yes. I mean, I know, I'm not doing that. And it's important we have to remember what we didn't do any more than what this community would do, what your local fire department would do. These guys train just as hard as we do. They do the same amount of things that we do. The only difference is I go to work and I get paid, and these guys are doing it on their own time. So I think every once in a while we need to remember that these guys are just as professional as the guys you saw operating on the power plant. And I think, it's important that we recognize that these people, and, when they have the open house or they have the event at the firehouse, that we come out and support it. I really am trying, guys. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of the things I saw. Okay, the first day on 9/11 itself, it started out, it was a beautiful morning. The sun was shining, it was a nice warm September day. Everybody had plans. I was home actually having breakfast, and I turn on the news and I see that there's a fire at the Twin Tower. So I'm watching the news and seeing what's going on, and then, the second plane hit. And I'm like, watch this, I go, you know what, maybe I'll just get my stuff on and go to work, see, just in case, they need help. So I'm driving to work, and I listened to it on the news, because at that point it was broadcast, everything was nothing was going on, what was happening sometimes. And I get a cell phone call, and I'm talking to my friend on the phone. He's heading into his firehouse, and all of a sudden the tower's fire, the first South Tower fire. And I've been in the fire service for almost 20 years, and New York City fireman for 10. And the first thing that clicked in my head was, we just lost 100 guys. And I remember I'm talking to my friend going, we're going to have to get down to the site and see what's going on down there, down to the World Trade Center. He's like, okay, so we made plans that we're going to meet in Manhattan. Now, if anybody's ever been to New York City, Manhattan is a city that nothing that happens in Manhattan can close it down. They call it the city that never sleeps, and it's actually absolutely true. I was showing that to Fred when it came out. Any time of day, anything you want to do, we can go get it done. And I remember riding up and seeing that sign actually on the expressway that said, New York City closes all traffic. And, you're very stunned at that point. Here's the city that never sleeps, and they closed it. How do you close Manhattan? Driving in, still driving in, hit a little rise. There's a little rise in the road where you can see the skyline of Manhattan. Actually, the same one is on my patch for you guys that can see it. And that's when it hit me that, this is very bad. At that point I was in the car and listening on the radio. The entire skyline was blacked out with smoke and dust. Get into the firehouse, hook up with the other guys that showed up. We actually ran to the maintenance for the fire department vehicles actually was in our area. So we ran there and we actually stole the Suburban. Don't tell anybody, they still haven't gotten it back. Loaded everybody up. I had a pickup truck. We loaded as much equipment as we could in the back of my pickup truck. And we headed into the city. We finagled our way past the roadblocks and everything else, got in, ended up getting down to the site. I wish I could describe what it was like. It was like a very bad blizzard, believe it or not. You're trying to, some of the images there that I was seeing, I was thinking to myself, I said, yeah, we were there. Seeing the rigs crushed, right? You're walking along and you just come across that. It was like, you're talking about Manhattan. Manhattan's a city, it's always alive, there's always something going on, and there's nobody around. Visibility is down to maybe 25 feet. You happen to stand up and look, and there's a 15-story building fully on fire. I mean, these are things that just don't happen, for us. We ended up digging all day, trying to, find it and find anything we could find, and we couldn't find anything. I mean, this was the first time actually on the picture here that I actually saw a computer. Because you didn't see computers, you didn't see chairs, you didn't see, and nothing made it. All you saw were those pieces of paper that were flying around for probably the next year. There must have been so much paper and businesses up there that it was just all over the place. And then we just went from there, and from there it's kind of a blur. We were trying to do because we were just trying to find our friends. That's basically that. And again, we lost half our firehouse. And you know, it's kind of very, can't pick the right word. It's very humbling, I guess is a good word of that. You know, this could happen. This isn't something that just is going to happen in New York City. This is something that they're going through in Illinois right now with the tornadoes. Right? We just had the big tornadoes down here. They have multiple deaths. And they're going through this now, so this is something that could happen here. You know, and this is something that we need to remember as far as, you know, we have the soldiers overseas. We need to remember them. We need to remember our emergency services. We need to remember, you know, what we're doing. A little bit about Squad 288, believe it or not. Squad 288 was created in 1995 as, believe it or not, because of the heightened threat of terrorism. If anybody's here is old enough, they may remember the Tokyo subway gassing. This is one person. Thank you for shaking your head. In the early 90s, they actually did a subway gassing in Tokyo, and they released sarin, which is a chemical agent, in the subway, and 5,000 people were affected. And believe it or not, that was like a failed terrorist attack that they did that, because they didn't kill anybody. The dispersal device was very poor. And seeing this, the New York City Fire Department said, we're going to create units that can handle this type of incident. So Squad 288 is actually a unit that was created to fight terrorism. And this attack that they did was something that nobody had ever planned for. Nobody had ever taken a plane, a 767, and said, you know what, we're not just going to hijack it. We're going to take this plane and we're going to fly it into a building. Before I go, I do really would like to thank you guys for the support that you gave us a few years ago, and really for just sitting here and listening today. This is not an easy subject for anybody. You guys really showed us a lot. You know, when Fred came out twice, Fred came out to support us originally, to come with the check, to attend the 3 funerals, and then to go for the memorial that we had in October. That was happening from people from all over the country, you know, and that was probably the one biggest benefit out of, if you could pick a nice thing that happened out of this horrible, horrible event, was that the country did pull together, and the country did support us, and we were getting support from, you know, Adams County, Wisconsin, which I had never even heard of before, you know, and now, you know, I got somebody who's coming out and says, yeah, I want to come out, I want to come see your firehouse, I want to do whatever I can do, and, you know, I want to attend the funeral, I want to be there so these guys have people in line. And I thought that in itself says a lot about you. So thank you, Fred, thank you for you and the support your department gave, and thank you all for, and the whole community for everything you did for us. Thank you.
I'd like to have these people in the service industry please stand. We've got the green light, see the door. But I have 100 guests come here, and as we exit, let's take the opportunity to walk past these representatives, high fives, all the way down the line, whatever you choose to do with these people. Protect us in a lot of ways. I really want to give you a chance to point out, also be recorded. Go ahead. Turn over.